Aston Martin is set to revive the Valkyrie LMH project to race in Hypercar and GTP. Multiple articles indicate that Aston Martin is preparing for a return to the 24 Hours of Le Mans with a hypercar as soon as 2025. While this isn't officially confirmed to be happening, it would be pretty exciting if it did. For this video, I will talk about this news story as Aston Martin plot a prototype endurance racing return. One of the first questions you might be asking is, where is this information coming from? Well, a lot of it comes from the recent article from Autosport.com, but it's not just them, because earlier on, Daily Sports Car put out a similar article, and besides those two, there are more articles on the topic. The fact of the matter is, Aston Martin are set to revive their Valkyrie LMH project. According to these articles, Aston Martin could announce plans to return to prototype endurance racing in the next few weeks. If Aston Martin officially confirmed to join, they would be the first British manufacturer to confirm a hypercar entry. And it's not just the hypercar class, the WEC, and the 24 Hours of Le Mans they're joining. They are also set to join IMSA's GTP class. So this potential entry could be joining two different categories of prototype endurance racing. This prototype hypercar from AMR would likely be based around the Le Mans hypercar regulations, not the LMDH regulations that cars like the Porsche 963 and Cadillac V-Series R are based upon. If Aston Martin go that route, they would be the 7th different manufacturer to build around the LMH regulations. Aston Martin would likely race the Valkyrie in the Hypercar and GTP categories, although this potential entry would not be the road version of the Valkyrie. This would be a race variant of the Hypercar. Besides its fascinating aerodynamic design, as well as other unique attributes of the Valkyrie, the Hypercar also has something quite cool about it, and that has to do with the engine. The British manufacturer has fit in a massive 6.5 liter Cosworth V12. Now, I cannot conclude with saying that Aston Martin will fit this same engine in their race variant of the hypercar. They may switch to something like a V6 engine, but there is still a genuine possibility that Aston Martin fits a V12 in their race variant. And if this became true, this would mark the first ever V12 powered hypercar to race in the WEC or IMSA, and the largest engine overall. Currently, the largest engine in these two categories is from Cadillac. They have a 5.5 liter V8 in their LMDH prototype. Now, this is actually not Aston Martin's first time trying to enter with a hypercar, as they've actually tried this before. This is why the articles are mentioning this news as a revived project, because it essentially is. In 2019, Aston Martin confirmed with Toyota Gazoo Racing that they would be joining Hypercar in 2021. They were set to join with a race version of the Aston Martin Valkyrie and build their car around the Le Mans hypercar regulations. Everything was getting set up for Aston Martin to join until the announcement of LMDH that made them reassess their options and their entrance into Formula One, rebranding the Racing Point team. After that, the hypercar project was postponed and eventually presumed abandoned. Oh, and quick side note here, I did make a video on the downfall of the Valkyrie LMH project. I'll put a link to it in the description down below. However, after all these years, it seems Aston Martin are set to revive the project, as they look to enter with the Aston Martin Valkyrie as soon as 2025. When speaking with Autosport.com, Aston Martin implied that they are still interested in joining the top category at Le Mans. We are encouraged by the growth of the hypercar class, and the hugely successful Centenary Le Mans 24 Hours was a shining example of this. Motorsport is an ever-changing landscape, so of course, as a global hypercar brand, we continue to pay close attention to the class. Autosport.com's article by Gary Watkins confirms that Aston Martin are still interested in entering Hypercar and GTP. It seems the project is continuing to develop behind the scenes. Aston Martin is looking to collaborate with Florida-based team Heart of Racing on this LMH prototype. Heart of Racing is already a customer brand for Aston Martin, having raced in the GTD and GTD Pro classes of IMSA, winning the Rolex 24 this very year, and they've already branched into the WEC, running the number 98 Northwest GTE AM entry. So as you can tell, Aston Martin and Heart of Racing have deep ties already. So if this was the team to run the Valkyrie LMH, I think that would be great for the future of Aston Martin's hypercar project. If Aston Martin joined IMSA's top category GTP alongside the WEC hypercar class, this means that Aston Martin will likely become the first manufacturer to enter a Le Mans hypercar. So far, every single manufacturer that has entered GTP has brought an LMDH entry. So if Aston joins in 2025 and Toyota, Ferrari, and Peugeot do not join with their Le Mans hypercar contenders, then that officially means the British manufacturer will bring the first ever LMH prototype to GTP. Now, if Aston Martin actually revive the Valkyrie LMH project and start racing in 2025, joining the WEC and IMSA is not their only priority, because Aston Martin wants to win overall at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And if they eventually do so, the interesting thing is they've done it before. You see, back in the 1950s, Aston Martin set sights on taking overall victory at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Aston Martin tried for 10 years straight to win the historic event, coming as close as finishing one lap behind the Jaguar D-Type with the Aston Martin DB3S in 1956. But finally, history was made in 1959, when Aston Martin brought 3 beautiful DBR1s to the 1959 edition of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Aston Martin's competition was Ferrari, and that's who they were aiming to beat. And they successfully did. With the sheer speed and reliability, the DBR1s obliterated competition, taking a 1-2 finish for the British manufacturer, 25 laps ahead of the nearest Ferrari. Aston Martin has since returned, seeking overall victory again, having raced in the Group C era and in the LMP1 era, and their last appearance at Le Mans in the top-level category was in 2011. But 14 years later, in 2025, Aston Martin may return to the top category of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. If they enter with the Valkyrie, this would be huge news, becoming the 13th different manufacturer to enter either Hypercar or GTP. But now I want to ask you, what do you think about all this? Will Aston Martin join Hypercar and GTP in 2025? And will we ever see that ferocious Valkyrie race at Le Mans? As always, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for following along. If you want to see more endurance racing content, especially on IMSA and WEC, make sure to hit the subscribe button to the left. Also, check out one of the suggested videos I put to the right of your screen. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.